Hey everybody, this is a new series that I'm going to be trying out called Cider Stories. This is going to be a much shorter sort of thing than my main drunk history, in which I'm just going to go and ramble about some random topic. In this case, it's going to be pagan mythologies. So we'll start off by looking at Greece, because in my other drunk history episodes, I've alluded to how fucked Greek myth is. I think in one of the episodes I referred to the Greek pantheon as a bunch of horny teenagers with no self-control, and I made jokes about how Zeus, fucks everything that he sees. I think this is quite telling in that the best relationship that any of the Greek gods have, the best romantic relationship, is between Hades and Persephone, and just to explain how bad that is, remember that Hades kidnaps Persephone, and that is the most functional romantic relationship the Greek gods have. I mean, some versions of the myth have it where Persephone wants to get away from her overbearing mother Gaia, and so she organizes a fake kidnapping with Hades, which I find quite entertaining. Another thing I've noticed with a variety of these pagan mythologies is they all seem to have one sort of recurring theme with them. For the Greek gods, it's definitely horniness. Like, a huge amount of the Greek myths all originate in some Greek god, usually Zeus, getting horny and deciding to fuck something. But there are others that do it as well, it's not just Zeus. And there's ancient Egypt, and Egypt's thing is definitely mystery. Like, you get that all of the Egyptian gods all have animal heads, right? When the Greeks turned up in Egypt after Alexander's conquests, they got so confused by it that they made up this thing where the Greek gods had fled to Egypt and put fucking masks on because they couldn't explain it. Then with Norse myth, the general theme is definitely mischief. Like, you have your designated mischievous god, in this case Loki, whose pretty much sole occupation in the mythos is causing trouble for no fucking reason. His most infamous story is where Baldur's mother goes around and makes everything in the entire world swear not to be able to hurt Baldur, and so everyone crowds around in a circle and starts chucking things at Baldur because nothing can hurt him. And so it's like a game. But when Loki finds out that Baldur's mother forgot to make mistletoe swear the oath, he makes a spear out of mistletoe, hands it to Baldur's blind brother and tells him to throw it at him, and kills him. But I think just as equal with this, there's also the time that Loki tied his nutsack to a goat's beard and let it drag him around, or the time that the gods are trying to build a big-ass fence around their home, and so they contract a Jotun to do it. But they say that if he doesn't do it in enough time, then he's not going to get paid. And then they have Loki transform into a mare to distract his horse so he can't move stuff around, as a distract in that sense. And this results in Loki giving birth to a horse called Sleipnir, who has 8 legs. And there's misconceptions around the main god, Odin, and yes, it's Odin, not Odin. This letter here is called F. People mistake it for a D. It makes a th sound. Odin is considered in the West, when the West looks at Odin, they sort of transpose our image of the Christian god onto him and turn him into this grandfatherly old dude who's really kind and stuff. This is Odin from the MCU.
Oh shit.
Joke's on you, no, that one's actually Loki. But would not have been out of character for the real Odin, who was a colossal dick. And his kind of main shtick was that because he was gathering an army for Valhalla, he would go around starting wars in Midgard, F again, and then he would support the losing side so that the better side lost, and then he would harvest their warriors for Valhalla. There are even accounts in the sagas of particularly good warriors just being straight up speared by Odin because he wants them for Valhalla, and he'll just go down onto the mortal plane and do it himself. He's a colossal asshole. Then there's the quest for knowledge. Right, so watch this clip from Kung Fu Panda.
One often meets his destiny on the road he takes to avoid it.
This is a recurring theme in Indo-European mythologies, a lot of figures do this. Odin is one of the ones to do this. When Odin gets a prophecy that the bastard children of Loki will destroy the world, he hurls the serpent into the sea, and he has Tyr tie up the wolf, Fenrir. This is kind of unfair because neither of them have done anything at this point. Fenrir is a good boy, but once he does this, he makes these entities real fucking mad, and by casting the serpent into the sea, he gives it room to grow until it becomes big enough to encircle the whole fucking world. And then when Ragnarok does come, this giant ass serpent that fucking can circle around the entire world goes and kills Thor, and the wolf that Tyr had tied up goes and eats Odin. Odin's entire pretty much existence in the Norse myth revolves around him going out to look for knowledge to stave off Ragnarok. But all he does is cause it, because one often meets his destiny on the road he takes to avoid it.
Oh shit.
This is why most people don't actually like Odin in the Norse society. He's an asshole, and he's a self-serving asshole. And although he is supposed to be a god of wisdom, he does a lot of stupid things. Because he's not actually a god of wisdom. His friend, Mimir, was the god of wisdom, and he died, and Odin took on the role of god of wisdom. And he keeps Mimir's head in a well and fucking asks it questions. Then there was a time in which Odin stabbed a spear into his side and hung himself from a tree to make a sacrifice to himself. Don't ask. And after doing that, he saw the Futhok runic alphabet and gave it to the Vikings. So yeah, mythology is fucking weird.